Hello, our dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition from our daily debate. Today's edition is dedicated to the House of Representatives elections 2025 rerun and runoffs for the second phase, and it's the second and last day for the expats, and tomorrow and Thursday the voting will be taking place inside of Egypt. We'll be shedding light on this with our dear guest in the studio, Dr. Sara, Director of the European and North African Center for Research. Thank you so much, Dr. Kira, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Before starting our debate, we'll be taking a look at the top stories where Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli inaugurated Tuesday a factory for producing submersive pumps at the company of Qaha, affiliated to the Ministry of Military Production. Addressing the event in Qalyubia Governorate, Prime Minister Madbouli said the state was continuing the efforts to develop local industries, viewing it as the steering wheel for the comprehensive economic development. The Prime Minister noted that this is a reflection of the progress in the industrial sector in various fields. He described the localized industries, build up human capabilities and support infrastructure. For his part, a State Minister for Military Production, Mohammed Salahuddin Mustafa, said the production of submersive pumps was an added value to the national economy and to decreasing the import expenses. The minister emphasized that this distinguished economic achievement is the climax of the efforts exerted by a number of the ministry's factories. Egyptians abroad, Qasr Palace is the second and last day of the rerun for phase 2 of the parliamentary elections on Tuesday. The National Election Authority held a press conference over the voting process throughout the day. Executive Director of the NEA, Councillor Ahmed bin Dari, said the elections went smoothly and without violations. He said diplomatic missions abroad exerted utmost efforts to facilitate the voting process in 117 countries. The rerun, which was being held for individual seats, included 55 constituencies in 13 governorates. The results of this round of the vote is expected on the 25th of December. And Egypt welcomed the adoption of the UN General Assembly by an overwhelming majority of the two resolutions affirming the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people. The first concerned the permanent sovereignty of the Palestinian people on the Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem. The second affirmed the Palestinian people's right to determination. Egypt asserted that the Palestinian people's permanent sovereignty over the territory, natural resources, the rights to self-determination constitute inalienable rights. It rejected any practices that would undermine these rights and reiterated its call for an end to the exploitation of the Palestinian resources. Cairo confirmed its full support for the Palestinian people and their legitimate rights, affirming its continued political and diplomatic effort aimed at ending the Israeli occupation. And back to our main topic for the debate tonight, which is the House of Representatives elections, rerun and run-offs for the second phase taking place, and it's ending today for the expats and will be starting tomorrow and Thursday for the Egyptian domestically inside of Egypt. And we'll be taking this report about the voting process, and then we'll be back to start our debate for tonight.
Egypt is witnessing an important electoral milestone as the runoff phase of the House of Representatives elections for Egyptian expatriates was being held on Monday and Tuesday. This stage of the electoral process carries particular significance as it allows Egyptians living abroad to continue exercising their constitutional right to political participation and to play a direct role in shaping the country's legislative landscape. The runoff comes as part of a broader national effort to ensure inclusive representation and reinforce democratic practices both inside Egypt and beyond its borders. Participation of Egyptian expatriates in parliamentary elections reflects the growing recognition of their role in national development. Millions of Egyptians reside outside the country for work, study or long-term settlement, yet remain closely connected to political, economic and social developments at home. By enabling them to vote in the runoff elections, the state reaffirms that citizenship rights are not diminished by distance and that expatriates remain an integral part of the national political process. The runoff elections are conducted following the same legal and procedural framework governing domestic voting, ensuring consistency and fairness. Voters are required to present valid identification documents and ballots are cast in a secure and confidential manner. This phase allows voters to choose between candidates who do not secure the required majority in the first round, making it a decisive moment that can influence the final composition of the House of Representatives. Central to the organization and supervision of the runoff elections is the National Election Authority, which has overseen all the stages of the elections, from settling timetables and issuing procedural guidelines to supervising voting and counting processes. During the runoff for expatriates, the authority continues to play a pivotal role in ensuring transparency, integrity and equal opportunity for all candidates and voters. The NEA has coordinated extensively with the Foreign Ministry to guarantee the smooth conduct of elections abroad. Coordination includes selecting and preparing polling stations within Egyptian embassies and consulates, appointing trained judicial and administrative staff, and ensuring all necessary electoral materials are delivered on time.
Welcome back, our dear viewers, and starting our debate about the House of Representatives elections runoff and rerun for the second phase that took place yesterday and today, which is the last day for the vote for the expats, and tomorrow and after tomorrow for the Egyptians domestically. And to shed light, we are delighted to be joined by Dr. Sara, the director of the European and North African Center for Research. Dr. How do you see the importance of the runoff and rerun for the second phase of the House of Representatives elections for the Egyptian expatriates and domestically for the political life in Egypt?
This time in this year's elections especially is very important for the lives of Egyptians and their future. And we have tackled this and we have sensed this in the streets, either abroad, for Egyptians abroad, or Egypt here on the streets. We have seen a lot of movement, a lot of requirements, a lot of requirements from the candidates. This is what's new for Egyptians to be this involved in elections and parliamentary elections. Well, we have been always very political as Egyptians, but this year especially. From my own point of view, I see that Egyptians are shedding light on their political future and the future of Egypt, the future of their children. So it's really fascinating how involved Egyptians were in this year's parliamentary elections, because there is a lot of success being achieved by the Egyptian government, by the Egyptian authorities, and it seems like Egyptians are aspiring for still more and more.
Indeed. Dr. Kira, indeed, as you have kindly mentioned, the requirement from the people, from the voters, from the candidates. What do the voters require and expect from the candidates who are or who will be elected for the House of Representatives? How do you see this?
This has been the battle this year. I see Egyptians' awareness is being very high, especially after two revolutions, of course. So aspiration is really high. I think it all has to do with the economic status, especially that Egyptians see the government is running in achievements, achieving a lot of success, trying to attract a lot of FDI, foreign direct investments, and there is a lot of running around. We are in competition with time. So mainly Egyptians, I have been following up on the news, mainly they have been talking about legislations and the economic status. And this is very legit.
Priorities of the Egyptian citizens.
Exactly, all the priorities now, all the legislations that have to do with the future, with the lives, with Egyptians aspire for more and more for the rule of law, and they are too involved now in shaping the legislations, either through their opinions on social media, through their participation in elections, through participation in media. So this kind of ambient, it is very important from an academic point of view for the transitional process and the democratic ambient for Egypt. So it's very amusing actually how Egyptians now are talking about their legislations, the progress of our economic status. I think this would be heavy burden on the next candidates and the next parliament, because Egyptians are waiting for a lot in those two aspects.
Yes. Why, from your point of view, Dr. Kira, this House of Representatives, this election is different from the previous ones?
The previous ones were Egyptians were, let's see, for instance, we have been very busy with Gaza, with all the regional threats around us.
Indeed.
Egyptians are, I see Egyptians are like the most people who love their country, are the most patriots in the world.
Yes.
So we have been kind of aspiring for the safety of our country first, regarding our borders, regarding what's happening in Gaza and Libya and Sudan. So we have been focusing on the safety of the country. Now that Egypt has achieved a lot in its regional role, and Egyptians sense more safety, less threats, and we have seen success being achieved in those files. Either it has to do, we have witnessed a lot of movements from Egypt, either on international level, on regional level. So now we're kind of, okay, let's focus on the domestic matters. I think that's the difference from my own point of view, that Egyptians now aspire for more success inside the country. Domestically speaking, we need more and more. We need to push our country towards a more of brighter future. And this is again very legit.
Indeed. Doctor, what messages does the state aim to send by holding the runoff elections for the Egyptian expatriates, and on the same organize the framework applied inside Egypt?
The annulments and the movements we have seen in the past elections, and the state responding in favor of the people. So the message sent here, you are heard, the authorities on your side, and we aspire for a brighter future for the state, on a state level and on people level. And it's all one circle at the end, and one result at the end. So it's been very important to send this message of you're being heard. So this was fascinating for the Egyptian people, and it gave them a lot of more effort to go and participate in the elections.
How did you see the participation of the expatriates, and from your point of view, why the Egyptian expatriates were actually very keen to go and cast their ballots and to be part of making the future of their country, and to be part of the political decision in their country?
This has to do with the nature of Egyptians. Egyptians always come back, as been mentioned in your report, that either if they are working abroad or living for long term abroad, they are still keen on seeing their homeland. It's homeland. They are still keen on seeing homeland achieving more and progressing more, either politically, economically, and socially, because Egyptians are always connected back to their homeland. So the participation has always been this fascinating and this high, especially from the people who live abroad, because they always want a country to come back to. It's Egypt. So, and we have witnessed what happened in other countries on our,
Of course.
in our neighborhood, in the region. So Egyptians abroad are just like Egyptians here. We want this country stable, and we want this country progressing.
Yes. To what extent the Egyptians abroad feel that their votes can actually make a tangible difference in the parliamentary representation?
It has been seen in the participation. It has been seen. If there is any doubt that their voices won't be heard or won't make any difference, we wouldn't have witnessed such participation, especially from Egyptians abroad. It's been, it's very honorable. It's a very honorable scene to see, to witness Egyptians abroad going from one city to another. And you know how hard it is to live abroad, either in Europe, in the States. Sometimes you have to travel to the embassy or to the consulate to give your vote. So it shows how keen Egyptians abroad are in participating in these elections. This shows the effect, and this shows the efficiency, and it gives a lot of responsibility to the next parliament as well.
How does allowing the expatriates to vote in the runoff elections strengthen the concept of equal citizenship rights that would be felt by our Egyptian expatriates?
Of course. Well, Egyptians abroad have to be this involved, and they are this involved willingly, and the state sees their importance and gives a lot of importance to their participation and voting in this electoral process, because Egypt depends on the remittance of Egyptians abroad. This is the #1 income for Egypt. The Egyptians abroad, we depend on the income from the remittance of Egyptians abroad. So the more confidence you give Egyptians abroad, the more money will come into Egypt as remittance, because it's the first income, and it's as important as tourism, as all the industrial sectors we are trying to push and progressing now. So from here comes the importance. And of course, Egyptians abroad, they have a lot of business. They have, of course, they have the know-how. They are the very well-educated people. They are the people who always very keen. Who are always very keen to send their money back to their families here. So of course, it's a lot of responsibility, a lot of weight on the state, and of course, that's why it always starts the electoral process with Egyptians abroad. First Egyptians abroad, and then Egyptians are a lot as well, either abroad or here. We are a lot.
Yes. Doctor, what role do expatriates communities play in shaping the political discourse back home through their participation?
Again, the stability of Egypt and the economic status of Egypt is very important for Egyptians abroad, for their businesses that they have here, for the families they have here, for the homes they have here. The more you give a stability, the more you give democratic process, the more you give economic progress, the more you give promises of better legislations, the more involved they will be.
Indeed.
The more income you will have, the more it's always very important to have Egyptians abroad and domestically, because they are the very well-educated people, the people who always come back to you with the know-how in everything.
Indeed. How can the political parties and the candidates actually better communicate with the Egyptians, the Egyptian voters abroad, of course, and domestically during the runoff elections?
Actually, with more involvement in the streets, but this needs a lot of resources, of course, that we're still taking baby steps towards. It needs more resources. It's still a little bit difficult for the Egyptian political parties to travel abroad. It needs a lot of resources, a lot of donations, and we're still taking baby steps towards this matter. They have been very involved on the ground here. I'm expecting more involvement, because I know Egyptians will keep their eyes open on everything happening in the next parliament. So it would take them more involvement, more traveling, more involvement in conference abroad, more talking, more dialogue, more dialogue and involvement in the street. And of course more resources.
Yes. Doctor, to what extent actually the Egyptian expatriates are expecting the new elected candidates or the new parliamentarians to express the problems, to be part of the problems and their demands from their country, their homeland?
Well, this, again, this is a lot of weight on the next parliament.
Indeed.
And especially from Egyptians abroad, because they always compare. We want to see our country as advanced as the countries where we live.
Better.
And better still. Because, you know, there is this sense of greatness in Egyptians always. But we lack resources, let's be honest about that. But this would be a lot of weight, and I think it would show in the demands in the upcoming, starting from the first session of the parliament. I don't think Egyptians abroad would wait for another parliament to come. The demands would start coming through all the channels, of course, embassies, the media, everything, starting from the first session. It's a lot of weight on the next parliament, a lot. A lot of a heavy responsibility.
We expect a very challenging
and we hope for their success, and I think they are up to the challenge, and they understand it. They are up to the challenge.
Doctor, the participation of youth in the House of Representatives elections in the different phases, how do you see the participation of youth, and what do we expect from the young generation here regarding the political life in Egypt?
It's been surprising, the youth participation in this parliament, and there has been a lot of and a lot of eagerness from young people in this parliament. I personally didn't expect that, but there has been a lot of, again, I think this has, in my own opinion, I think this has to do with seeing how the region is going on, how a lot of conflicts are taking place, and it's a very big symbol that younger generations taking this participation in this elections particularly, because they want a better future. Always young people is translated to a better future. I think it has to do again with how the discourse of conflicts is going on in this region and in other regions, and people now are more aware of how states are run, of how the economic status, we see the European economic status is not as well as before. We see how the states now is refusing to accept more immigrants, so it's like, okay, we're not going anywhere, we want this country better. And it shows in participation. And again, I think it gives a lot of weight to the next parliament, especially from the young people, because they are the people who wouldn't be able to wait, and the people waiting for a better future, and instantly they are always this, there is young power, young fire always. And being involved in social media, and the younger generation and my own generation as well, which is a middle one now, we have been always pressuring for a better future in our homeland. We're not going anywhere. Like, it's not like before, okay, I'll go and look for other opportunities in a better place, in a better, maybe we can go work in Libya. this is not an option anymore. So it's the whole pressure is here. We're going to make this country better and aspire for more. And it shows in their participation.
So how can we get to our young generation and invite them and encourage them to participate in the elections that will be taking place tomorrow and after tomorrow? How we can encourage the youth to be part of the decision making in the country?
To be honest, here comes the role of the political parties. They have to reach out to the young people and study all their aspirations and everything that they hope for in legislations, in economic status, in everything that has to do with their daily lives, on making their lives easier. And also the role of course, mass media and communication, and they are making a huge effort. But there is a big role for the political parties. I don't know if there is time for that. They have been pressuring a lot with very minimum resources to reach out to all the sectors of the society. And there has been pressure in these elections, but the bigger role relies on the political parties, actually, to be honest.
How can we increase, Dr. Kira, the political awareness of our young generation, not only for this election, but in general, to be part of the decision making in their country, to participate, to be involved in the decision making in their country, and to have a real political awareness regarding that?
I see that the younger generations are encouraged already because they have it in them. As I told you, they have it in them. It's just that there is a little bit of confusion which political party to be involved to, which ideology to go after, what is the agenda. There has been a little bit of confusion in this matter, but I see them encouraged already, again, for a better future for this country. So there is the encouragement, and the eagerness is there already. To encourage them more, mass media, and of course to speak about the matter, to push them forward, to show them the value of voting, the value of their voice. Excuse me. And this has been shown in the lines for giving their voices. I've seen it. It's been impressive. So the encouragement is there already. Just a little bit of directions.
Of course. Women. Women in the political life in Egypt. How do you evaluate the participation of women here in the House of Representatives election? And how do you see the participation of women as candidates in this House of Representatives elections? And do we expect more?
We almost have half of the parliament, so there's 25 and 25, so it's almost 50% for women. And thanks to the Egyptian state to that, of course, because we are the society, and women, don't you realize, as a woman since the revolution, that we have been moving things in this country, and we have refused the MB's rule. It was us women. We have been scared for our identity, the identity of our children.
Of course.
We have been the real mover of things in Egypt. The first demonstration against Muslim Brotherhood and their fanatic ideas was from women. I was one of them. So we have been the real mover in the background of the scenes. Because women are those who run houses. They are the rulers of their houses, the rulers of the society. We control the money everywhere. We control it. We have the future of our children is on our heads all the time. So this is where it comes from, the 50% of the parliament seats for women, because of course. And women now are so much better educated than in societies. There is women in the past few decades have been very focusing on education and work and getting this society, this country more stable through making a lot of economic initiatives. I've seen a lot of initiatives made by women that have made a lot of influence in the society, either for handcrafts, either for SMEs, small enterprises, small companies. Women in the back scenes are moving a lot. A lot in the society.
And many front scene as well.
Of course, it's time to take the front scenes as well.
Yes. Doctor, of course, women, as we were talking now, during the past few years did achieve great positions, politically, economically, socially, on different levels, due to the concern given by the Egyptian administration. What do we expect here from women regarding increasing the political awareness and of playing a more important role in the coming parliament?
The Egyptian administration has been the #1 motivator for women to take part. So we have taken this encouragement from the president himself.
Of course.
From President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who knows the value of women and the value of women in this society. And he has been the #1 motivator for women to take part either politically or socially or economically. To be honest, the administration and women and society are aware of the social complexity, of the social changes taking place in Egypt. There is a lot of mothers who's taking responsibility of their families alone. There is, to be honest, there is a lot of divorce, a lot of, the president has talked about this as well. So there is a lot of women in charge of their families and of the economic status of their families. So, and they have been pushed by the president and motivated by the president to take part in the society and in political life. So we are already encouraged.
Yes. So what do we expect the women to do under the House of Representatives umbrella, as the voters, of course, will be participating, and we expect hopefully tomorrow good participation by Egyptian women. And do we expect certain participation actually from the Egyptian women in the upcoming days in the runoffs and the rerun for the second phase?
We've been noticing lately that Egyptian women have their voices heard one way or another. I expect a lot of pressure on the next parliament to shape a change in the religious discourse, in the social discourse towards women, especially lately. Yeah, you know, some accidents happen, and to pressure on making, putting more legislations and more regulations for violence against women. I expect a lot of change in regards to everything that has to do with women issues in the society. Family legislations, which has been on hold for a lot. And we have also been talking about that with the president, and the president tackled that. So the percentage of women in participation in the elections comes from that aspiration. And the quota of women in the parliament would be obliged to, due to the social change, the social movements now, for more women's rights. I think that would reflect on the next parliament as well, and the women candidates inside have the voices of women heard as well. And I think there would be a change in everything that has to do with the legislation.
So we do expect a lot from our parliamentarian that would be starting their parliamentary, of course, role as Egyptian women parliamentarian, to do more and more for Egyptian women under
I think the women files would be the first in the first session.
women and education and health. And we did see in the previous parliament great work done by our women parliamentarians as well.
Yes.
Doctor, the democracy, how did you evaluate? We have been witnessing the House of Representatives election, and beforehand we were witnessing the Senate elections. So how that is shaping the political life in Egypt and our path for the democracy to be achieved and the political stability in the country as well as the economic stability, because they are of course related.
Okay. Of course, as long as the country is politically stable, it will be economically stable, because when you have stability, as long as there is tension, as long as there is movement, as long as there is requirements, as long as there is tit for tat, pull and push, there is a political life. There is a democratic transition. What Egypt has witnessed in the past decade is not something trivial, or is not something small. 2 revolutions in less than 2 years has been a lot. It says a lot about the people of Egypt. It says a lot about the nation of Egypt. It is strong enough. The people of Egypt are strong enough. So the people of Egypt have their voices heard, starting from the president himself. So as long as there is movement and tension and requirements, this says that there is a political life in Egypt, and there is a democratic transition in Egypt. No one can deny that.
Of course. Of course. So finally, Doctor, what are we expecting from the House of Representatives? What would be the main challenges, and what would be the main topic that would be heading the agenda of our next parliament?
Women affairs, economic affairs, political dialogue, more transparency, a lot of legislations to make the lives of Egyptians, daily lives of Egyptians, easier. We have witnessed a lot of progress in transportation, in health sector, and we're still aspiring for more. The more work you do, the less burden you have. And I think women, families, social, economic is the first on their agenda, for sure.
Indeed,
For sure.
Dr. Sara, Director of the European and North African Center for Research, thank you so much for your precious input and for being our guest for tonight.
Thank you for having me.
It was a real pleasure. And our dear viewers, with that we come to the end of this edition of our daily debate. Till tomorrow with another crew. Many thanks for watching.